Hey guys, welcome back. We have been doing a series on Wolters' book, Creation Regained, the biblical basics for a Reformational worldview. And today we are on class 4. We've talked about what is a worldview. It is the way you look at the world. It's almost like a pair of glasses that you put on, and it colors the way you look at everything. We talked about the creation, how everything in existence has been created by God. Things that are seen, things that are unseen, things that are in the life of the mind. Technological advances. We talked about how God put seeds in the minds of humans and in his creation for people to discover and to work out and to make things and do things with. So the only way we have the little phones that we can hold in our hands that are actually computers that we can hold in our hands is because God put the materials, the physical materials that we make our smartphones out of in the creation, and he put the ideas for how to make a computer and how to make it really tiny so it will fit into our smartphones, and how to even make phones, the ideas for the internet. All of those things have come together in our smartphones. And this is an example of how God's creation includes not only the seen world, the natural world around us and people, it includes the concepts and ideas that God has embedded within the creation. We talked about how God puts his laws in the world to help us to understand the proper way to live, that God has an original good intention for the way every part of his creation should function. So, for example, families should function in a certain way, and when a family is run like a business, then that family unit is unhealthy, because we can discern as humans, and also we can even read in scripture, special revelation, how God meant for us to live. So a quick review is that there are two forms of revelation, or ways that God reveals his will and his wisdom to us. And one is the Bible. So that's called special revelation, and that's where God's words are written down and we can read them, and it's very clear. And then the other way is in the created realm, and that's called general revelation. So if you were to look in Romans chapter 1, it talks about how people are without excuse for not knowing God, because the things that are true about God are visible if they were to just look around. So all truth comes from God. Sin and Satan cannot create anything. Everything can only come from God. Last time we talked about how sin likes to sink in to every part of God's creation and twist it and pervert it away from God's original good intent for that part of his creation. It's almost like a necklace that gets all tangled up and has to get untangled again in order to be the necklace that it was originally intended to be. So this class, we're going to talk about the fall. What is the fall, and how did it happen, and how far does it reach? All right, so when Christians talk about the fall, they're talking about when God gave Adam and Eve one rule in the Garden of Eden when he created man. He said, "Do not eat from this tree in the garden." And Satan appeared in the form of a snake and tempted Eve to take that fruit from that one tree that God said not to eat from. And he even told Eve, "You will not surely die." So Eve said, "We cannot eat from this tree or we will surely die. Or we will die." And Satan said, "You will not surely die." So he got Eve to think that it would be a good idea to go ahead and disobey the one rule God had made for them. And she invited Adam to do the same thing. So all fell into sin through that. And we're going to talk a little bit about headship and how that works in just a minute. All right, so in the Heidelberg Catechism, which is a Reformed teaching tool, Lord's Day 3, question and answer 6 and 7, talks a little bit about the fall and how mankind became sinful.